If you've seen Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you know that one of the highlights is this music battle between Doctor Strange and Sinister Strange. But how does this music battle work? Where does this mysterious piece of sheet music come from, and what does it mean for the multiverse? And why is this the note that wins the battle? We're going to explore all of that and more as we go deep in on the music battle from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Let's go. Before we dissect this music battle, we need to know who is fighting and why. All you need to know is that Doctor Strange is doing the music battle against himself, or rather a version of himself from another parallel universe where Doctor Strange has been corrupted by something called the Darkhold,
Book of the Damned,
and has a third eye and has caused something called an incursion where he ruined his universe.
Incursion?
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide.
He's basically become a bad guy known as Sinister Strange, but when Doctor Strange, our Doctor Strange, lands on the piano in the room, he hits some keys which unlock another plan of attack. He decides to use musical notes as weapons. Now, there have been music battles depicted on film before, some of which are still really fun to watch.
Sex, baby, let's talk about you and me.
But there is one interesting difference between these music battles on film and the one that Doctor Strange engages in. Some people have said that this music battle was influenced by sort of Symphony, which, like the Multiverse of Madness scene, uses actual musical notation as the weapons of choice. Unlike a typical musical battle, the attack is not occurring through the use of loud sounds like Black Bolt does in the film, or what the landlady does in Kung Fu Hustle. See, what Black Bolt and the landlady are doing is something called Acoustokinesis, which is a superpower defined as being able to manipulate sound waves. But here, sound waves are not being manipulated. Rather, what's being manipulated are the pictorial representations of sound as written down in Western notation, which brings up all kinds of weird questions about how that works. I mean, does Doctor Strange even know how to read musical notation? Well, the idea that he would come up with music notation as weaponry isn't as far-fetched as it might seem at first. The first Doctor Strange film implies that he plays piano. After all, he has a grand piano at home, and though we don't see him play the piano in the film, he actually does play it in the trailer. And circumstantially, he's known for being good with his hands at surgery, so why not keyboards as well? He's also known for being super into musical trivia.
Challenge round, Billy.
And winning a musical trivia battle while doing surgery.
Feels so good, Chuck Mangione, 1977.
So Doctor Strange using notes to fight may not be all that strange. But still, there are additional layers to this that get mind-boggling, and I've got a theory about how it all works.
I got a theory, and I think I'm right.
First of all, to lay out the most obvious, what we're hearing in the score is our original Doctor Strange using Beethoven's Fifth to fight against Sinister Strange, who then counters with Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor. These are two of the most popular classical pieces that most people are familiar with. So it's not too surprising that these were the ones that were used in the film. In fact, Multiverse of Madness composer Danny Elfman has said that he originally composed this scene with many different pieces of classical music, but Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige suggested simplifying it to Beethoven's Fifth versus Bach's Toccata and Fugue, probably so it would appeal to a more mainstream audience. Or was it? Because one of the reasons these two pieces are so well known today are the way that they're both continually used in popular culture. For example, in the Disney film Fantasia, Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor was the opening number performed by an orchestra. And in Fantasia 2000, a kind of sequel to Fantasia, the opening number is Beethoven's Fifth. So is it a coincidence that these two incredibly popular pieces appear in the Multiverse of Madness scene and in both opening numbers of Fantasia? Or was Kevin Feige maybe attempting to pay homage to his Disney bosses with this reference? The answer for me lies in the use of this chromatic string line, which sounds to me an awful lot like Modest Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, which famously was also used in Fantasia. So the influence of not one, not two, but three Fantasia-related classical pieces seems to point in the Disney interpretation's favor. But that really is just the tip of the iceberg. To go deeper, we need more clues, and we get one with this close-up on this sheet music page flying through the air, which Doctor Strange then uses as his first notes of attack. And what is this mysterious piece of music that's flying through the air? At first I was inclined to believe that the animators just put in some random piece of sheet music. But then in doing research for this video, I actually came across the exact piece of sheet music that I'm guessing the animators used. I mean, look, all the notes actually line up. And where does this piece of sheet music come from? Well, it's actually the sheet music notation of the Doctor Strange theme music. But not the theme composed by this film's composer, Danny Elfman, but from the composer of the previous Doctor Strange film, Michael Giacchino. Now think about this. The original Doctor Strange is fighting a new version of himself using the original Giacchino theme in a new Danny Elfman score. So in a way, this film is doing meta-commentary about how Michael Giacchino was the original franchise composer of Doctor Strange, and Danny Elfman is perhaps a sinister version of the score composer, wreaking havoc on the musical continuity of the franchise. To be fair, Elfman does use Giacchino's Doctor Strange theme in at least 3 moments where he thought Giacchino's music would play really well.
Can't let it take your power. Get to the book.
But using the theme 3 times is really not that often when compared to how Giacchino worked really hard to establish the theme by placing it throughout the first Doctor Strange film. In some ways, I suspected this would happen. When director Sam Raimi took over Multiverse of Madness from original Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson, there was always a good chance that we would have a more sinister version of the film, given that Raimi is known for his horror movie roots, as well as employing Elfman going all the way back to 1990's Darkman. But in a weird way, it's not as clear whether Danny Elfman is the sinister version of Giacchino, or if Giacchino is the sinister version of Elfman. The reason might be because both composers have scored films in the same franchise multiple times, with Giacchino often coming in as the new composer. Elfman scored the first 2 iconic Tim Burton Batman films. Giacchino later scored the most recent reboot, The Batman. Elfman scored the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Giacchino scored the recent Spider-Man No Way Home. But with Doctor Strange, Elfman is finally getting to be the new composer on a franchise originated by Giacchino. So maybe having Giacchino score as the original Doctor Strange's musical weapon of choice makes sense, since theoretically it is more associated with his character. And that's all fine, but it doesn't answer why we hear Beethoven's Fifth, not the Giacchino score, during the actual attack. Well, Beethoven's Fifth is famously known for its 4-note theme, which is 3 notes of G and 1 note of E flat. This relationship is known as a major third. And this 4-note major third down theme isn't just heard in Beethoven's Fifth, but also as the main theme of Batman in The Batman, composed by Michael Giacchino. The major third down theme is not just used in the melody of Giacchino's Batman theme, but is also used in the chords underneath. So perhaps the use of Beethoven's Fifth can be heard as a subtle allusion to Giacchino's Batman. So in a way, this is kind of a meta-commentary on Giacchino's contributions to film music. But then why would plucking this note lead to Sinister Strange's downfall? Well, before I answer that, I have to mention what note isn't happening. Right before this harp note is plucked, we get a pretty bombastic D major chord, which we're expecting to resolve to a G chord. In essence, the proper note that should have been plucked here is G. Well, the film doesn't do that, but instead gives us B flat. This is indeed kinda strange. So why is it happening? Well, maybe it's because B flat is a major third down from D. That's right, Doctor Strange is using the Beethoven theme and the Batman theme combined to overcome Sinister Strange. But wait, there's more. Giacchino's Batman theme, the major third down chord progression, which technically is a minor 1 to major 6 chord progression, isn't just Giacchino's invention, but is also a signature of Danny Elfman's Batman theme. They can even be played together in a mashup. But if you don't think Elfman would make the connection between these two themes, consider the fact that Elfman himself resurrected his Tim Burton Batman theme when he scored Justice League, showing that he does indeed care about the legacy of his themes. So in a weird way, this one B flat note, a major third down, is the bridge between Elfman and Giacchino and Beethoven. It's the place where Sinister Giacchino taking on an Elfman-originated franchise and Sinister Elfman taking on a Giacchino-originated franchise meet. Colliding these two realities, these two universes together, causing a mini incursion, defeating Sinister Strange. And that's how the music battle in Multiverse of Madness works. At least that's my take on it. What do you think? Thanks for watching the video. I'd also like to thank my patrons on Patreon, including my newest patrons, Amy Peterson, Liz Davison, Jennifer Holmes, Dasha, and Marguerite Shigog. Please subscribe to the channel for more musical breakdowns, and I'll see you next time. Peace.